Hello. I love my hair. I love it like this. I just came on here because I feel like this energy, and I feel like it really needs to be shared and spoken on. And I just felt like today I was supposed to do something special and something different. And this is the form that is coming in. Um, yes, I just feeling really like jovial, had some fatigue today, and all the little bitty moments of frustration. But overall, it feels like a real moment of congratulations, a real moment of like really being proud of myself and the space that I've been able to create for myself, spiritually, mentally, excuse me, within my aura, within, I would say, like my energetic surroundings. And I just really wanted to talk about those things. I feel like it's an obvious reflection of the collective, and the people who this message is for will receive it as such. Kitty is in the room. He may or may not join. If he feel like it, we'll see. Okay? So I just wanted to start off by like, I feel like I've come so far. Like yesterday I watched this video, and before I watched the video, somebody else recommended the video. And it was like, this video is really triggering because it'll like, I don't know, press wounds and press buttons. And I clicked on the video. The first line, I was like, okay, hold on, let me go ahead and like prepare. So I paused it. I watched the whole video in full. I didn't get triggered at all. And I'm telling you, this is one of those videos that's like, it was really triggering. Like, it was like very blunt and very straight to the point, which is something that I feel like, you know, is avoided a lot. There was no beating around the bush. There was no sugarcoating. There was no trying to make it sound nice. And it was about childhood trauma, sexual abuse. And I'm sitting there and I'm like taking it all in, and I do feel empathetic, sympathetic, and feeling like justice definitely needs to be done. But I didn't feel triggered. And I just been thinking about that today. Like, I'm like, look at me. Like, oh my God. Like, that's how I feel. And I feel like that really needs to be celebrated. It's so many things that like used to push my buttons, and they still are things that I don't like, I don't agree with, but they no longer control me, which is what triggering really does, because it's a fear response, and it gets you to act and respond in a certain way that is usually outside of your own awareness and control. My belly, is it a little bloated? It's nice, very grateful. So yeah, that, and I've also been feeling a lot of healing around my twin flame. Like, oh, for the longest time, I just was like very, I guess, triggered and just really upset. And there was like this, almost like this yearning. It's like this neediness that I felt, which I feel like is also a part of the interference, that feeling of like really needing your divine counterpart. And it's been like released over this last week, I would say, or since the beginning of December, like these few days, so far it's been 12 days. It's been like this clearing of the heart chakra. And while I have experienced this at different points and different times throughout the year of 2023, it's never been extended to this point that it feels permanent. And I do feel like I want to get into the twin flames today. Should I start now or should I come back to it? Excuse me. I had a lot of Coke to drink. On top of this, I'm channeling usually. So let me see. Do I want to talk about this? Yeah, I do. So today, as I said recently, I've just been really like not enraged, not feeling any negative emotions really towards my twin flame and everything that went down. I've just been like letting it go, like it's fine. And if any memories come up, some of them I enjoy, but most of the time I'm just very neutral to them. I'm just like, these are things that happen and they don't have to mean this or that. I feel like I have a habit, and I feel like a lot of people will resonate with this, of like catastrophizing things, and like but based on certain things, you decide in your brain that they must mean that this is going to happen in the future, or that this meant that in the past even, or this means this in the present. Like, for example, if somebody that you really loved and really trusted like abandoned you and leave you, you could have this idea, no, I'm not worth staying for. I'm not worthy of love. Nobody's ever gonna stick around. I'll never have like a nice romantic partner. Like these sorts of thoughts. You know what I mean? It's like catastrophizing. Like you take these individual instances and you make them perpetual. You make them be forever, and you cast them off. You manifest them. And that's how we give a lot of our power away, is through, I hear ring, manifesting through these like triggers, which are put in place on purpose. And they are both put in place by like negative entities, haters, you know, all ops, all these things, all these beings, all these people, with just the energy to keep twin flames separated, which is to say, to keep divine union from occurring by this energy, as well as by source, to completely free you from this whole thing, which is a matrix. Give me a moment. I need to change my tights. I feel uncomfortable. Hi, Kitty Minilley. Hello, hello, hello. These two. You'll have to pardon me. I just got home and I was like, I want to do this, even though I stink. Probably shouldn't be sitting on my bed. That's why we have a wash machine. Thank God. Okay. So, both in place by spirit and these negative entities and in energy, because they are one and the same. Ultimately, everything is spirit, everything is source, because everything is love. And everything is love, and that will be apparent at the beginning and in the middle and at the end of this great story that we are all playing out. I feel like very uncomfortable, like in my heart and like in my sacral plexus and solar plexus and heart chakra, and then like up to my throat chakra. It feels like something is like coming out. So I will mention that Ramona Lappin has been saying that today the 1212 portal is really representing of the, what's it called? The divine masculine coming forth and speaking his truth. Now, as I've said many times, the his, or even the divine masculine, is not referring to gender. It's not referring to a male. It is referring to an energy that exists within all of us. That's why I am feeling this ups of energy coming up. And yeah, let's get into like more into the twin flames. Yeah, my cousin called me today and she asked, what is a twin flame? On this day where I was thinking about how I no longer feel triggered by my twin flame or any of the events that happen. I feel pretty neutral to them, and if I do feel anything that's not neutral, I feel joy. And in like the negative moments, I no longer see them as a way to make myself a victim, or neither him a victimizer. I see them as like these events that happened because I was in a certain space in my life. I was in a certain headspace where I had particular beliefs, and I let these beliefs play out in my reality. And something interesting that Ramona said in her last energy update, which is very true, is that ultimately, when we're very angry and upset at the world, we're ultimately upset at ourselves, really angry at ourselves, and it's because we are so loving and excuse me, that often we're so loving and we want love, and those things get misconstrued and painful in this reality. And so when I look back at even the most painful, heartbreaking moments of my life, I see them as I believed this certain scenario, I believed these things about myself, and they played out. And it's like, so in a way, I was actually getting what I wanted all the time, because I was, and I am, constantly manifesting the reality that I believe deep down is the best that I can do, is the best that I can create, you know? It's like that, the thing that people say, it's like you did the best you could with what you knew, what knowledge you had at the time, and that's how it is. But if you view it in that way, you can also say, I've always like gotten what I wanted, especially in situations like romantically, where it's like it's voluntary, because I would say that doesn't apply to every situation. But yeah, I just know, and I felt that I've grown so much, even in times recently, as of late, when I've been like way down by the density of the collective, which has really been present throughout December, doubting myself, being really frustrated with the algorithms of these platforms like YouTube and Instagram. Those are the only two I have. I don't have anything else. Being frustrated that like people aren't like, what's it called, like supporting me enough. Not enough people are supporting me. Why can't I have, more outreach and more stuff like that? The rage, all of that frustration came up, but then it like simmers down to like, I don't really care, in terms of I don't believe it anymore. I feel like that's what it is. Like, I don't believe that my videos not getting more views equates to I should feel sad, or I should feel like I'm not doing enough, or like my content wasn't good enough, when I know it's good enough. And so recently, today and a little bit of yesterday, I've actually felt like a superstar. I feel really good about myself, because I feel like my content is amazing. I feel really proud of myself, because as I said, Kitty Minilley. As I said, like, I'm at a point, where I've never been in my life before, where I don't, and he's coming to confirm. He's like, what are you doing? What? He's like, what? You're in the way. Hi, Kitty Minilley. Hello. I'm at a point in my life where I have surpassed so many of my limiting thought patterns and beliefs. And it's like I feel the most wealthy, the most blessed, the most abundant that I've ever felt in my life. And my bank account hasn't changed. I haven't gotten any new friends. I don't have a boyfriend. I'm not married. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have, a wife. I don't have a master's degree. Like, nothing happened but me. Like, I happened. I changed. And I feel like there's somebody out there who really needs to hear this message, because either you feel this energy that I'm picking up on, or you're in that fluctuating space that I was just mentioning, where you're clearing the dense energy so that you can completely come out on the other side, where you no longer have to feel that dense energy ever again. And if you do feel it, it's in a different way. That's why I always try to emphasize in any messages that I put out, not to shadow ban or negatively annotate your negative feelings. If you feel frustrated, feel frustrated. If you feel like people not really seeing you, like they really not, appreciating you, feel that way. If you feel angry, feel that way. All these things are very holy, they're very sacred, and they're extremely important, because when you shadow ban them and reject them and push them out, you are literally creating your own demons, and it just puts shit back up in the consciousness of the collective that you still eventually have to clear. It doesn't go anywhere, because everywhere is you. Everywhere is spirit. It's everything. It doesn't, where is it gonna go to? It's like, for example, it's like when you're a kid and like you leave some trash, you don't clean up after yourself, you go on. It's because in your head, or you don't know, but there's gonna be some grown up and they're gonna come and clean it up. In this scenario, you are both the child and the grown up. I feel like there's this belittling that happens, and I really don't like it. This disempowering kind of teachings that we've all been taught, and that we've all probably taught, I definitely have, teaching ourselves and teaching other people to constantly kind of like shrink yourself. But as much as humbleness is important, so is grandeur. If you can see Kitty, he's here kneading the blanket. But yeah, humbleness is just as important as grandeur. I remember I don't know where I got this from, but I heard this African, like, what's it called? Like, African story, fable, whatever, folklore, I don't know, something to teach a lesson. And it was saying that you need both the elder and the child. Like, people, we think that you either need the elder for the wisdom, or you need the child, I don't know, for players. Some people, you don't need the child at all. Excuse me, but you need both of them. And they were saying, I don't know, the jar of life or something, or the secret to life is in a jar, right? You need the elder's wisdom to locate it, but you need the child's hand to be able to fit into the jar to take it out. The elder hand is not gonna fit. It's too big, it's worn, it's aged, but you wouldn't find it without the elder's wisdom and experience. You need both. You need both to be humble, yes, but you also need to think of yourself in a very grand, sophisticated, complex, royal, regal way, because that is also the truth. You are also spirit. You are also source, which is everything. And so that's how powerful you are. When you push down your dark side and all of your, I don't know, heaviness, you are pushing it out to yourself. You will eventually have to clean it. And that is something that I also like got in a chat with spirit sometimes, often throughout the day. I will chat with spirit, my grown-up self. And I don't know, maybe they told me this, or maybe I told myself this, but I was asking, like, why haven't we ascended yet? Why are we still here? And when I felt that, like, this energy that I'm feeling now, this very uplifted and, like, clear, more clear feeling, they responded like, this feeling, this is why. You are always going to have to go through and look at all the shitty stuff, look at all the heavy stuff. You are always going to have to go through it all to completely free yourself. It's like, yes, spirit, God, source can free you, but that is also you. And so it's ultimately you are freeing yourself. And it's like spirit can't do it, but they can at the same time, because it's both. It's always both. But that's the message I was getting. And I remember talking with my cousin about like rebirth, because she was saying, you know, how everybody says you only get one life, you know, you want to live in a certain way. And I was like, well, I don't believe that you only get one life. I actually believe that you know, you get multiple lives here, and then, you know, of course, in the grand scheme of things, it's not multiple lives. It's just like you can't die is a thing, because that's a very 3D concept to die anyways. But anyways, I was telling her, we both agreed that it was even more urgent than if you continue to live, to work through your shit, because it's always gonna just continue to be there. Why not take right now to go ahead and clear it out, so you can go ahead and start living the best life possible for you? And I feel like it's really important for me to talk about this whole idea of like this image of being married and having a spouse, because I don't know, I feel like it's very important. This has been coming to my attention. Whenever anything comes to my attention, it's always a message, and it's always for a reason. So I'm gonna speak on that. Give me a moment. Kitty really likes this. Thank you for being here, Kitty. Thank you. Lots of energy coming in quick. Okay. So, I have seen online, when I've been on there, it's like everybody, I mostly like subscribe to and follow women, females, but it's like it always comes up in the most irrelevant ways that people that I'm watching are married. It's like they want to like make sure to say, by the way, I have a husband. Like, I was listening to this artist, and she was covering different Taylor Swift songs, mashing them up, and I was scrolling through her songs, and I was like, oh, she's so nice. And then on like the bottom of one of them, like me singing to my husband, and then this other woman that I follow for her skincare routine, just beautiful skin, and one of her things, she was like, with how to prepare for date night with my husband. And then there was like another one, this baker that I follow, and she was like, making biscuits for my husband. It's like, I'm like, what is this? I'm like, what is this? It's like this fake idea that like you always have to, I don't know, be in some kind of relationship. Like, I was watching this interview, and like this actress was just like, yeah, me and my boyfriend went to see the movie. And I don't know, I feel like on one hand, it's not intentional to like constantly be putting out these subliminal messages, but I also feel like it's important to say that that's not the only, I don't know, way to be happy. And it's like, no wonder I had, and I don't know, probably still have a little bit of this like needing to like have some sort of interest in somebody at all times, or have this, I don't know, because I feel like that also really isn't me. And I was like, I'm gonna post some pictures, and I'm gonna be like, this is me out with my husband, and have like me and nobody else in the picture, to like mock that thing, because I feel like that is something. I'm gonna pull some cards probably on this energy, because I really don't like it, but I really wanted to be clear. I don't have a romantic partner, I guess, besides my twin flame, and we don't talk. And I've never had a serious, or even like, I don't know, official romantic relationship. I feel like that's very important. And oftentimes in my life, I don't even think about it. The romantic person that I am, I will admit that I spend so much time thinking about myself and how to improve upon my reality, that I often forget that I spend most of my time alone. I remember, hey Kitty Minilley, that I was on campus at college, and there was this guy that I really thought was like so interesting. And I remember he was like asking me about like myself, and he was like, oh, so you're a loner. And I was like, oh wow, I am. Like, I do spend most of my time alone. And it's because I'm so wrapped up in myself that I forget that everybody else was like addicted to having people around. And it's really not a judgment to them, but I do find it quite odd because I'm not like that. Like, people have to like eat. They have to eat with people. They don't go out to restaurants unless they're going with somebody else. They don't go to the movies unless they're going with somebody else. They don't take themselves out unless they have a partner to go with. Could be anybody. Could be best friend, could be family member, could be romantic interest. And I don't do that. I take myself out. Tonight I went to the movies by myself. I don't think it's strange at all. I don't think twice about it. I'm like, if I want to go see a movie, I go see a movie. If I want to go out to eat to dinner and I can afford it, I go out to eat to dinner by myself. I don't think twice about it. And I feel like that's very important. I remember, and I've said this before, but I want to say it again. I remember there was this pastor that I really liked to listen to a few years ago. Excuse me. And I remember he was talking about himself and his wife. And he was saying how him and his wife don't have that, like I was saying, that traditional, or that traditional kind of marriage where there's like this neediness, or like there's this need to prove that you're married to other people, and so you have to play these roles and say these things that people expect you to say. He was like, we don't do that. And he was saying how a lot of the communication between him and his wife was actually very silent. They don't expect anything from each other, but they both love each other, and so they do things for each other. And because they don't have that expectation, it's a beautiful, like, romantic surprise. It's like, oh, you ironed my shirt for me. I didn't expect you to do that, but you did it. And he was like, that's a beautiful thing. And he was saying how he said this phrase, and I kept it with me ever since. He was saying, the longer that you are married, you should hope to become more single. The longer that you are with somebody, you should aim to become more and more single. And I feel like that is something that I have achieved. And I'm very proud of myself for that. Very proud of myself for that. Because I feel very strange in a world where people are constantly, even if they're not in a relationship with people, constantly texting, or they have, talking to people, have some sort of romantic thing going on. And I was like, where are the books? Where are the movies for people like me where that's not my life? I don't live in this way. But there was still, and probably still is, a little bit of this like neediness energy. And I remember Ramona Lappin was saying how it's interesting. That's how you know, like, this whole thing is very distorted. It's interesting how it's often the divine feminine that's doing the chasing, like this needing. When she, again, not referring to gender, hey Kitty, when she is the one that the divine masculine actually needs. It's opposite. All right, I'm gonna read these comments that somebody posted. It says, me too, needing companionship. Can you break down the twin flame signs? It's very interesting. Most of the time, just had this convo with a guy I feel is a divine connection. That's very interesting, because that's what my cousin asked me today. She was like, what are twin flames? What are some of the signs? Am I gonna get into that now, or I think I'm gonna pull some cards on that energy first, of like this image of like people needing to share that they have some sort of significant other who has decided to commit to them and they to them, which is, I found it very fascinating. I was at the movie theater and there's this bar there and there was this guy, and it's like he couldn't have a conversation with me without mentioning that he had a wife, which I find that that's very normal, but like, why is that? He was like, yeah, my wife reads books, because I was reading, obviously, I'm always reading. And I was like, I don't know, I feel like every married man that I've ever talked to who has not been with their spouse always brings up their spouse. Like, this happened, I think, last week or the week before last, and I was at a waffle place, and I commented that I liked his ring, this man's ring, and he was like, oh, my wife has one just like it. It's like, I don't know, and I feel like it's the same thing. Like, what is this, like, thing? Because I feel like you would assume that marriage would be this very sacred and highly held thing, since people are constantly talking about it. Once they have it, it's like they have to make sure they promote it, but it's not. Marriage, I feel, in my opinion, at least from my experience here in the South of the USA, it's not a very sacred partnership. I feel like it's often trauma bonding. I feel like people often get into them for the wrong reasons. They stay in them for the wrong reasons, and some people probably even leave them for the wrong reasons. I feel like it should be a divine partnership. I feel like you should respect yourself, respect each other, and have boundaries, and want to support each other in endeavors that feel righteous and in sync with, life at that moment. And I feel like that's often not what marriages are. So it's like this, excuse me, this distortion. And I feel like marriages that are, or partnerships that are like that, often get frowned upon. You know what I mean? It's very odd. It's very distorted. So, Spirit, what would you like to say about this? This is the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot. What else would you like to say? Are these upside down? Yeah, the marriage card. Beep, beep, beep. All right. Bottom of the deck is 5 of Pentacles. People are messaging me now. 7 of Wands. Bada, bada, bada. 9 of Cups. I feel like it was in reverse, but we'll just show it that way. 4 of Wands, which was in reverse. And Page of Cups, which is in reverse. The only one that's in upright are the 5 of Pentacles and the 7 of Wands, which I would say are kind of sad, anxious-y cards. And the ones that are like more bright are upside down. You feel me? You feel me? So, I don't know. I'm getting this like weird feeling. This is what I'm like hearing. I feel like these people who are on the internet constantly like obsessing and like influencing others to obsess about the fact that they're in like these committed because we all know these committed relationships are actually like being deceitful, which I don't know, I feel like it's not hard to guess, but what I keep hearing is like that these are like initiatives and programs started by the ops in order to like encourage people to chase after falseness in terms of divine counterpart. It's the same energy. So speaking of twin flames, one of the indicators, because somebody asked, that this person is your twin flame, could be that they are in a relationship with somebody else. That's something that I've picked up quite often in different twin flames connections that I've heard about. Or there's some sort of like third party like pulling at them, pulling their attention away from their divine counterpart, or their divine feminine, divine masculine, it'll depend. But this is definitely something that I've seen as a trend where it's usually, in my opinion, from what I've experienced, it's usually a distorted feminine that is doing interfering. Does not have to be a third party romantic interest or even sexual interest. Could be a parent. Could be a parent, could be a guardian. Let me tell you about the mamas. Like, it's this interference from these toxic ass women, usually, or feminine people. And that's what I'm picking up here as one of the signs. And I'm trying to remember like what my point even was. Oh, because I'm feeling like there's this tug. And okay, that's my point. Like these, I don't know, these marriages that I see online, it's like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like these are coming from like the false divine feminines or the distorted feminines. Because it's usually feminine people that are the ones posting these things about their husband. But you know, about their wives. I've seen also lesbian couples do this. Yeah. And I feel like it's like this distraction. It's like they use this like siren call, and it's like pulling away from, I don't know, pulling the attention off of the divine feminine and like painting the divine feminine as the one that is distorted. And the distorted feminine is like in this mirage of being the true divine feminine, which she is not. What's coming to my brain now is that movie Ruby the Teenage Kraken, which I love. I'm not gonna spoil it because you see this part in the trailer, but it's like this mermaid, which we all, you know, everybody associates mermaids with beauty and being trustworthy, especially, you know, with the Little Mermaid coming out. And you hear, I believe, Jane Foster? Is it Jane Foster? I don't know. Hopefully I remember her name right. But you hear like the grandma Kraken saying mermaids are actually like the most deadly creatures in the sea. They are deceitful. They are absolutely not trustworthy. And actually the Kraken, which we have all heard, you know, we've seen the movies, Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, we've seen these movies. The Kraken is this big monster that's evil and destroys things. And they tell you in that movie, Ruby the Teenage Kraken, Krakens are actually the superheroes. Krakens are actually the protectors, the queens, the kings of the sea, that are, you know, there to restore justice, protect, provide peace, love, and sacredness. So that's what I'm feeling. And also in that is like, you know, the Kraken is quite large and they are strong and they're fierce. And I feel like that's the divine feminine. The divine feminine is, she's soft, she's not aggressive, but like, you know what I mean? She can be aggressive, she can be fierce, she can be deadly when she needs to be. That's a part of her divinity. But it's like this this falseness that the mermaid, who is usually associated with always being calm and sing-songy and never, you know, never deadly, never a killer, you know, that's the one you should trust. And I feel like that's a dead giveaway that there is something distorted, because everything organic is balanced, everything real is love, and love is all things. So if you see a person, you know, or a mermaid being only in one section or one fraction of the spectrum of, oh, it's 11:11, in the spectrum of humanness, of being organic, being free, that's an obvious, I feel like, sign of deception. So you will find these energy, I remember what did somebody call it? The Jezebel energy. You will see these energies in twin flame connections. They will show up because they will try like hell. They will try anything to keep twin flames from uniting. I'm gonna go for a bathroom break. You will have to stare at my wall and possibly Kitty. I don't know, he might leave. So I had to pee. continue. So, Ramona Lappin, I'll probably quoting her a lot today, but she said that the matrix that we're in now, or like, you know, anything inorganic has to be feeding off of organic matter. It cannot survive on its own. So like, for example, I don't know, do I even have an example? But you know what I mean? Like, it can't survive on its own. It has to have something organic, something real that it's feeding off of. And you know, that goes into a lot of stuff about like, I don't know, how everybody real has like you have source inside of you, so therefore you're able to create anything. But those beings, or you know, the energy that like tries to pull it, has like decided to like turn away from source, has to use somebody else to, you know, siphon off of in order to create the reality that they want. It's only through influence, because they can't actually do it themselves, because they have decided to be inorganic. They still have to feed off something organic. And so that goes into this Jezebel, this distorted feminine energy that I'm talking about. This, you know, I'm talking about like this toxic ass female feminine energy. Because it only works if the divine feminine, like, I don't know, believes it. And that's why what this energy that I'm bringing to the table today, what I'm talking about today, is so important, and it's deserves to be celebrated, because like, that's freedom. It's like, once you stop like falling for these games, falling for these triggers, you're no longer feeding these distorted reality. You take your power back. And so it's like, they have nothing to suck on. They have no vampire teeth to bite into. Is there like an example that I can give, or some sort of way to elaborate? I feel like I just need to keep like elaborating on affirming what I'm saying. It's like what I was saying earlier about how what I believed was creating, I was manifesting these catastrophes, because I would take these events that were happening in my life and I would say, this means I'll never be loved. This means I'm not worthy of love. This means I'm not good enough. And so by me believing those things and, you know, propelling that into my future, I'm manifesting these catastrophes. Although, you know, these are my manifestations, it's also things that I've been influenced and subconsciously, you know, pushed to manifest. Like, my true self would never manifest any of those things, but you know, my in fear and survival mode self definitely would. And so that's that same like negative energy getting to create based off of my own light, my own creative spark, my own connection with source, feeding off of me and getting to create these realities for me, if that makes sense. Once I take back all my power, I no longer put myself in place of the victim in these past and present incidents. I'm no longer being triggered by these things. I'm not catastrophizing these events. Even if, you know, these triggers are happening presently, I'm very neutral to them. I don't believe this has to mean this or that. And in fact, if I do believe anything from them, I believe that it will work out for me. Suddenly, you know, this energy that wanted to make these doomsday prophecies no longer has anything to feed off. It's like, if you're not reacting, if you're not triggered by these things, they can't control you, because that's what I was saying at the beginning. You get controlled by the triggers. It's like pulling the gun without you even thinking, without your soul's consent or your soul's permission. It's a reflex. Thinking about Monsters Inc. now and how I feel like that's kind of evident in Monsters Inc. It's like, if you keep, the more you scare the child, like they don't react to them, you can't get the little scream tank to fill up. And it's like, now what you're going to use? You're going to run out of power. I'm no longer giving you what you need to sustain yourself. And that's just it. I feel like I have a lot of stuff that come in at the same time, and I like lose track of like the messages that I get from spirit of how to explain this all. I know that's very important. I'm hearing to continue to talk about the divine masculine and how you can identify them as your twin flame. I feel like, and I'm hearing to say that the masculine has suffered a great deal. And I'm hearing to say it's because, and Ramona has spoken on this as well, and who else? I don't know anybody else. Ramona Lab has spoken on this, but it's like because the divine masculine, I would say just by how they've been designed here, have less of a natural connection to source, excuse me, than the divine feminine. And so it's like even harder to persevere through all the shit that's been tossed on everybody. So it's like two people, right, in the same situation. They're in these black rooms. Their memories have been taken. They don't remember their family. They don't remember any of these things, where they come from, what they can do, who they will be, who they are. But one person in room A, which would be the divine feminine, she can hear, she can feel this voice, guiding her. And, she doesn't trust it, but it's there. And there's this other person B, which would be the divine masculine. And, like, there's not really a voice. If there is, it's very quiet, or it's in a language they can't comprehend. But at the same time, like I said before, this whole thing, get rid of the victim and victimizer. I'm also hearing to make a point here. What I'm hearing is that this is why it's important to merge the two, to come into divine union within yourself with both of these energies. So come into divine union within yourself, that's the only union ever, with the divine feminine and divine masculine energies, because it's like that tactic of divide and conquer. It's like when you have both of those, energies united within yourself, then they can't fuck with you. Because it's like, if you're a divine masculine, but your divine feminine is very much awake and very much, integrated within you, then you have that connection with source, as well as that grounded foundational energy of the divine masculine. Same as if you're the divine feminine, you have that sacred connection with source, but you also have the divine masculine energy within you, very alert, where you have good boundaries and you will protect yourself when necessary. You feel me? That's what source is saying. That's what spirit is saying. That's why it's very important that you have the two. And I feel like we've all done a very good job of, because I can feel it. I can always feel the collective all the time. I can feel this like breath of fresh air. It's like waking up for the first time, and like I don't have to fight so much anymore, because I'm realizing that fighting energy is feeding this game that I no longer wish to play. It feels like I'm getting that movie Crudes. Yeah? Which one? I feel like the first and the second one. First and second movie Crudes. But it's like in the first Crudes movie, there's a lot of like survival, very caveman-esque type of heebie-jeebie going on. They have to like fight for everything. They sleep in a cave on rocks, and the dad is like, this is life, this is how it has to be. And then they meet Guy, who's played by Ryan Reynolds, and he's like, oh, I have all these different adventures. This is called fire. Now you don't have to wait until the sun is up to be able to see outside. It's like you get introduced throughout the first movie to these little bitty, miracles, so to speak, these ways to make life more easy. And I feel like that's winning within the matrix, which is something that I talk about I haven't released it yet. It's in one of my Santa, sensitive Santa videos where I talk about this. Where it's like, within this construct, we're all like chasing after this American dream. You know what I mean? Like, to have enough money to be able to afford a washing machine or a car or a house. And like all these things are making the caveman lifestyle easier. No longer do we have to run. We can get in a car. No longer do we have to scrub our clothes by hand. We have a washing machine. Like, you know what I mean? Like winning within the matrix. And then at the end of the movie, they cross to the other side. And then movie 2 starts with their life on the other side. And it's like completely different. Like no longer, we don't have any of these like problems at all. Everything is abundant. There's fruit everywhere. There's vegetables everywhere. The animals are really friendly. It's just like very nice vibes. The home is built with the trees. And that's what I feel like is representing New Earth. It's outside of that matrix. You know what I mean? That, because like you can only go so high within this construct of living, because you know everybody has this idea, you know, even if I get rich and I get famous and I have a stable life or whatever, eventually I'm gonna die. Like somehow I'm gonna die. But that is not true. That's only here where we even think and believe these things. You cross over to the other side, to true freedom. You don't have to even worry about death because you don't die. You don't have to worry about these illnesses and diseases because they are all things that they are symptoms of a greater problem within the collective. You know what I mean? And you just put band-aids on. Like I said, instead of running, you get in a car. Versus we can fucking teleport. You know what I mean? You can teleport to any place you want because space and time doesn't actually exist. You can fly because you can shapeshift into whatever you want. So it's like taking those prizes that we prize so much and surpassing them with real truth, real reality, real freedom. And my experience, that is what the twin flames are all about. So that's why another sign of being twin flames is extreme triggering, being triggered all the damn time. You know, just being pushed, feeling extremely seen by another person to a point that makes you terrified. And all of that terror is put there on purpose, like I said, both by the opposition to keep twin flames repelling each other, but it's also put there by source so that you can be faced with it and clear it all completely so that you will never be controlled again. It's both. It's both. Okay, what else did you want me to say? It's been a lot of different messages today. Yeah, something else I wanted to say, because I mentioned earlier how I spend a lot of my time alone and I don't really think too often. The loneliness is real, but I don't think too often, I would say. Probably about 70 to 60% of the time I don't really think about it. About like this isolation that I'm in. But what's interesting, I was thinking today while I was at a traffic light, I was like, I got people, they don't play by me. Like I have people, they don't play about me, you know? And it might not look like it, you know, as I go here, hither, and there, you know, on my own. But these people do exist. And that energy is very much there. So I feel like that's a reminder that I really want to say to anybody who feels very unsupported. You do actually have a lot of support. There's a lot of like fuckery and trickery. And, you know, trigger warning, just in case anybody is triggered by this, just prepare, put a little bubble of light around yourself. But, you know, suicidal thoughts, you know, depression, deep depression, it's like these thoughts will come into your head. In my belief, it's often by these entities. And they will tell you these lies, you know, that nobody cares about you, you're all alone, you have to do everything on your own, nobody's supporting you, like all these lies. And it's like, that's so far from the truth, because even if, I don't know, there's nobody physically around you who's batting for you, there are people who do. There is energy that is always with you, within you, and outside of you, that is batting for you. And that's very important, I would like to say, to anybody watching this who really need to hear that, because it's the truth. That's just the truth. Like, I have people who don't play by me. Seriously, absolutely, I have people that don't play by me. Like, they will go to hell and back for me. And just because it doesn't look like that doesn't mean it ain't true. And I feel like that also plays into a lot of the fuckery that happens, I would say, especially to the divine feminines within us all, who feel very unseen, gaslit, misunderstood, unappreciated, silenced, and made to feel invisible. Because I feel like we all have that, like this part of us that has these things to say and is constantly like shh, and like pushed to the side and like wait till later, and like later never comes. Like, that is very much intentional, and it's completely fine if you've allowed that energy to like win out over you. Just know that you're gonna win. You're like, that's period. You're always gonna win. You're always gonna win, because as I said, we are eternal, we are infinite. So like, what, you already won, you know what I mean? There's a comment here. It says, negative thoughts can bring harm or dark energies. Girl, never give up on this channel. I know you're channeling and bringing light for the collective. Very, very sweet. Thank you so much for your support. And this is what I mean. Like, this person here, it's like, I don't know. We're kind of like trained to think, this card just fell. Oh, look at that. 10 of Wands. We're trying to think like that because, I don't know, you have to do a lot of stuff on your own, that there aren't people who care. Like, I got like 5 views on my video yesterday, and I was like very happy because I felt like the 5 people who watched my video really cared. And that's more than 1,000, that's worth more than 1,000 people watching my video and not giving a damn. You know, we're taught to value things incorrectly based on quantity, and while quantity is great, quality, as I said, the organic, that's where source lives, that's where source thrives, that's abundance, is quality. And so that's really the only truth. You have the Hierophant. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, you got some people showing up for you, even if it is energetically or in their own little ways. That's everything. That's why one of my favorite movies is Little Miss Sunshine. I love it. What was I saying? Yeah, the dark energies, even the ops, are just you. And this is something that I discovered painstakingly. It was from my twin flame. He was telling me about like why I had this nightmare. But I discovered this a while ago. Like, I don't know, the shadow people, the negative beings, while they are very real, in the grand scheme, which is, I feel like, how you should always be feeling in the grand scheme, they are just you. And so it's like you control them in a way. And I don't know, recently I've just really liked going to watch horror movies so I can laugh at these, like, I don't know, demons and stuff. I just think it's funny because, like, I don't know, I just feel like they don't have any power over me that I don't give them. That's how I feel. And that's what I encourage people people in my family who ask me about, you know, how to protect myself and how do I protect myself and how should they protect themselves. I'm like, send that shit back. Tell them get the fuck back. Get the fuck back. I send you back to source. Get away from me. What they gonna do? Stay? They have no choice. I said leave. Invoke. Come from that place of source where you are them. Tell them to back the fuck up. I send you back to source. I send you back out into the universe. That's what I do. That's what I do. That's what I do. Today, I was eating some food, and I didn't like the vibe of this man in a booth. And, you know, instead of, like, I don't know, getting all feared in my mind, I said, whoop, and I put a whole shield around myself. And anything that he sends to me will send right back to him. It's not mine. Send it back. That's what I do. So that's some more advice, I would say, another tip. Something else I would say to know about the twin flames is that everything is about to change and everything is about to get so much better if it hasn't already. I feel like you'll be able to, because for so long, who knows how long or who knows how little, twin flames have been caught in these fucking loops, these karmic cycles, and I feel like I'm out of it. And I feel like how I got out of it was being forced to like go it alone. And it's like once you create like that that singleness, like I was saying before, like being single, like within yourself, it's like, it's separation, but it's unity. And it's unity with the consciousness that basically understands on a greater level that there is really no separation, which I used to hate. I hate when people say that separation isn't real. But I feel like it's important, and I will say that I will elaborate a little bit on what I mean, even though my legs are getting a little numb. It's like you become single, and the more single you are, the more you understand that you're all the stuff. And so therefore nothing is outside of you. Everything exists within you. And so there's no need to chase anything. And there's no need to fall for these like elaborate schemes to get you to move out your spot. I remember my cousin used to say that all the time to my little cousin. She's like, don't let them take you out your spot. Don't let them take you out your spot. And I feel like that's it. Don't let nobody take you out your spot. Be single. Be in your spot. You don't have to chase nothing because everything is within you. And when you believe that, you will know it and you will see it. And I feel like that's how you get off of that karmic fucking wheel, off the treadwheel, treadmill. That's how you get off of it. You stand still. And it's like, that's when you realize that you were never really moving. Like you were staying in the same place. And then once you stand still, you realize that you can move, you move everything around you rather than you moving towards it. It's a distortion. Does it make sense? How can I like make this sound more like sense? I don't know, I feel like it's like those full circle moments. I'll give you an example. I do got one. It's that movie Onward. I've mentioned this one before. It's with voice actors Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, and I believe so many more, but it's a Pixar movie. And they are trying to like recreate their dad so they can hang out with their dad for one day. And in order to get enough power to do that, I think they need to find this stone, right? And so they start in their hometown, and then they go on this great adventure to find this stone. And when they finally find it, they come up through the surface, and they're like, oh shit, we're at the same place where we started. And that's what I mean. It's like, you always had the stone. It's distortion, it's lies, it's deceit, it's fear programming that convince you that you don't. Feel me? And that is very hard. That's a very hard lesson to learn. So please don't, I don't know, feel bad, you know, and like shame yourself for falling for these, I don't know, tricks. Because it's like, I don't know, I feel like one way you can look at it is like, you created the trick. So like, kudos to me for being smart enough and clever enough to trick me. You know what I mean? It's like, take back all the power and make it all yourself, but not all about yourself. If that makes sense. It's like you make it less serious by making every player spirit, and therefore making every player you. But then you also take it more seriously, because then you see why it's silly to continue to behave in a way that is no longer serving you once you see the game of it all. Because it is a game. I will say that it's definitely a game, and I myself get caught up in it all the time. But I wanted to say that I have had a victory where I take it less seriously, I take it more neutrally, and I just enjoy as much as possible. And as I've said a lot recently, like Nicki Minaj with Pink Friday was definitely like a huge inspiration. I don't think it's a coincidence, like the timing, you know, with even the color pink, we associated with females, but actually the color pink was originally associated with males, the masculine. Pink Friday 2, arriving again for the second time, a rebirth of the divine masculine, who is very protective, has great boundaries, but also does not perceive the feminine as a threat. That's something else. But I'm going to read this comment first. Whoop whoop. I don't know. I think people are very brave who share intimate details about their romantic lives in comments like this. I think you're very brave. I've always been very private. This is the least private I've ever been in my life. For years, I hated whenever people posted me online and did not want to be public. Even when I was in high school, I had no social media. I was like, do not put me on there. I don't want people to know who I am. So I think it's very interesting. I would recommend getting a personal reading with me if you would like to speak in detail. But I won't be able to give you specific messages or even, I don't know, response to personal things during this live. But everything happens for a reason. What is this reason? Take everything as a message. I feel like the message that I just heard is that the divine masculine, I'm hearing specifically one that has been silent, would like to get a message to the divine feminine, who has had a very healthy and vocal throat chakra. Excuse me. The message is, oh look, I'm not even very triggered by this. Even today, where I was like complaining about the divine masculine, I wasn't really too attached to it, because I don't know, I've just accepted. But the message is the Hangman in reverse, the King of Swords, Five of Wands, and the Queen of Pentacles. I'm no longer in the Hangman position, so it's like I'm no longer, what's it called, like reflecting on what happened. I'm in the King of Swords position. I'm ready to speak my truth, and this has or will cause some conflict in my immediate, life. So like close friends, close family, job. There's going to be some sort of conflict after the divine masculine, or as the divine masculine, or the divine masculine already has spoken the truth, you know, time. It's all the things. As they speak this truth, there has been or will be some conflict coming from the people around them. But it feels like they're saying with this Queen of Pentacles coming in last, I am determined to give you what you are most deserving of, which is King of Wands and Three of Cups and Wheel of Fortune. I am determined to give you what you deserve. So it's like passion in a way that's very public. So like that's another thing that I've experienced from myself and with other people in their twin flames is they don't want to commit. They don't want to commit in a public way. They'll commit with other people. They'll say it gladly with other people. Like, this is my, they'll have a label, girlfriend, boyfriend, you know, wife. They'll say these things, but with their twin flame, there's this hesitancy to say it publicly and pronounce it officially. So that's what this message is saying to the King of Wands. I will proclaim it publicly, passionately. I will be communicative, this Three of Cups, with my emotions. And I feel like more like I feel like they have friends now where their relationship with their friends, they don't like talk. Whoever this divine masculine is, they're very like traditional, like masculine. I would say like them and the bros, they don't talk about feelings. I don't know, they go drink beers and watch football. I don't know what men do. But it's like, that's what they're saying. I won't hang around those friends anymore, or either the dynamic between me and those friends will change. We will be more emotionally available with each other. And in this Wheel of Fortune, it's saying that I will continue to make change. So I feel like that's been something of conflict between like couples who are in union, and by in union I mean like together officially, but there's still this conflict of like the divine feminine in the relationship always being the one to like push the rock up the hill. Like the divine masculine will get to a point, oh, I've changed, and they'll do this little bitty thing and then they'll stay there. They don't progress on their own. And the feminine has to like coax them. You know what I mean? Like that's stuff I was saying earlier, like between the man and the wife is like, honey, can you go like, I don't know, mow the lawn? And they get up from like the chair. This is all very heteronormative stuff, so just bear with me. They get up from like their recliner chair and like, okay, like they don't do it on their own. They don't have initiative. They don't have drive. Like they get to a certain place and they stop. And the divine feminine keeps having to push and be that's a masculine energy that the divine feminine has been having to embody, to keep pushing and being the one to ask for action and, you know, change. And that's what this is saying with the Wheel of Fortune. I'm like, I need to go shower. Is that like I will also like continue to evolve. I won't, when this union happens physically, I won't just be the person you met. I will continue to elevate myself. And it's all very interesting. I must say that these are like the things that they are coming into, because I feel like this should be normal. This should be something a person does, which is like be passionate about who they love and what they love. They should have healthy, emotionally vulnerable relationships with their friends, and they should be able to evolve on their own. It's really been this kind of handicapped, distorted divine masculine that I feel has been pissing the divine feminine off, pissing me off. Like, let's just say that, pissing me off. It's like stunted growth. Like they get to a point in they just are children. These aren't men. These aren't divine masculine, you know, to say it in a way that is outside of gender. These aren't divine masculine. And to go hand in hand with that, these are divine feminines who are allowing this handicap. You know, do it. You keep pushing them. Hey, you know, are you gonna cook dinner tonight? Or am I gonna do it? It's like why do you keep telling them that? You should not have to tell a person who you are in an equal relationship with to do an equal part. You keep tolerating it, you keep accepting it, and therefore you keep creating it. So that's what I mean. Getting rid of the victim and the victimizer. You know, you did this, I did this. You know, it's eradicating that. You know, seeing it from a pulled back perspective, a grander perspective, of how you create your realities, and you allow these things, you accept them, and therefore you manifest them. Excuse me. But also, you know, living in a society where it's acceptable, it's normal to accept emotionally stunted, emotionally immature partners, and specifically men. I would say specifically men. It's like socially acceptable for men to have low emotional intelligence. These are normal things. These are things that they should be the standard. This should not be something that occurred after so much hard work clearing this shit. Like, you know, every fucking weekend, you know, I get hit by like, boom, density. You're in bed all day and I have to clear this stuff. But anyways, that's what we have to celebrate. That's what it is returning to. That's what it has returned to. So much to celebrate. I really want anybody who is still watching this to go ahead and, I don't know, take a moment, take 10 minutes, take 5 hours, and just really think about how you have grown and how you are no longer putting up with bullshit, how you've put boundaries up with others and with yourself. You no longer hate on yourself so much. You don't be triggered. You don't really be bothered with things that used to really bother you. And also how you are manifesting and getting what you want. Believe this and see this. See this in your reality. See the proof that you are getting what you want. This is very important. See the proof of the fact that you are currently right now getting what you want. This could be anything. Let's say you wanted some cornbread and greens for dinner and you get to eat it. This is an example right there. You get what you want. You wanted to go to, I don't know, the mailbox to get some mail. You got what you wanted. Look at the proof in your life and hone in on that you get what you want. Right now, you've done so well to even come to that point where you can see that you get what you want. And you always have been loved and seen and valued, and everything in your life has been a move on the part of spirit to get you to free yourself as spirit themselves. You are God. Don't let nobody tell you that you ain't. You are God. And don't let nobody tell you what that means. You are the wise hand that is able to lead the tribe to the sacred jar of life. You are the young hand that is able to reach inside the jar and pull it out. Come on, like, come on. Like, really, for real. Like, sit down and like really appreciate that about yourself. Incredible work, everybody. I'm emotional. I need to go shower, I need to go bathe. Thank you so much for the support. Somebody retracted messages. Hello, divinely blessed soul. Thank you for your appreciation. Thank you, everybody watching. Thank you to myself, because I know I'm watching this again. Thank you so much for listening to me talk and allowing me to talk and following your intuition and just being so amazing. I'm so grateful that I chose to be born. Bye. Oh, I said the date. This is created by US Game System, Inc. Bye.